Um, I feel like an idiot. I don't know why I didn't think of Craig Stammen because I knew that he was in the organization. I thought of AJ Ellis. I didn't have Craig Stammen on my radar. But this is a guy that has pitched in the postseason. He has a big resume, long big league career. He is not as successful on the pitching side as Albert Pujols was on the hitting side, but I don't care. You don't need to hit 700 home runs to be a successful big league manager. You just don't. And Craig Stammen, talk about a guy, and I talked about this with Nick Hundley. Talk about a guy who knows what it's like to be at the bottom. I think that's important. Someone that can relate to the players and he can have these conversations. And he knows, obviously, a ton about pitching. And I'm sure that he's thought a lot about game strategy. And if he impressed AJ Preller, he impressed the Padres, whoever was a part of this process, then I'm going to trust that. And you look at his big league career, he had a 3.66 ERA, 13 years in the big leagues. We know Manny Machado is the big guy in that clubhouse. What does he respect? He respects guys that have been it. That have been in it, right? They've posted. They have 13 years in the show. Remember when Jerks and Profar, I think him and Will Smith or something, it was probably Will Smith, got into that little altercation there at Dodger Stadium. And then there was the whole Sunday Night Baseball thing and everything that happened. Manny Machado's response to that was like, you don't do that. You don't say that about someone, because Will Smith called Profar kind of irrelevant. You don't do that to someone that has 10 years in the show. Manny respects that, and Craig Stammen fills that box. And this is not someone that you should hire just because Manny Machado is okay with it, but Manny Machado better be okay with it, the person that you're hiring, because you need that guy to be bought in from day one so he can help carry that message and help really lead this team and start it off well in spring training, and then you just carry it through. Talk about being at the bottom for Craig Stammen. Let's not forget, this guy was signed on a minor league deal by the Padres in 2016. Who knows how long his career was? Who knows how long he thought his career would have been after that? A minor league deal. And then he went on and pitched for 6 big league seasons for the Padres. And he had a sub-4 ERA doing it. And he had a ton of respect in that clubhouse by position players, by pitchers. And so, again, that respect does go a long way. It's someone that's been in the big leagues. He knows what it's like to struggle. He knows what it's like to be on postseason teams. He was on postseason teams with the Washington Nationals. He's played with big superstars like Bryce Harper, obviously Manny, Tatis. Like he's been teammates with these guys. So I think that can help. But he's also been teammates with guys that are the last guys on the bench, the last guys in the bullpen, fighting for a job in spring training. And through those 13 years being in the big leagues, I'm sure he's had a ton of conversations with managers, with pitching coaches, with bench coaches on how to go about certain things. So I like this hire more than Albert Pujols. Could they have gone the former manager route? Yes. Could have they hired Scott Service or David Ross, someone, with that former managing experience? They could have. But I think it's pretty clear the Padres wanted to go with someone that knew what they were walking into, and this transition will be as smooth as possible because that person's been in the organization. They're in the area. They're in San Diego already, and they're walking in. They have relationships with some big guys. Craig Stammen, he was teammates with Crony, with Nando, with Manny, with Adrian Morejon. He's been in there with those guys. And so I think that helps as well. Like those guys can immediately back Craig Stammen up as, yep, follow in this guy's lead. This guy knows what he's talking about. So it's going to be interesting. Is it a risk? Yeah, because the guy's never managed in the big leagues before. But what also is encouraging to me is that, according to Kevin Acee, a lot of this coaching staff is going to be retained. Ruben Niebla, the plan is for him to be retained. He's got 2 years left on his contract. Brian Esposito, I would think, would be retained. Would they keep him as the bench coach? I mean, I would not mind that. The guy seems pretty sharp, and he was just the bench coach under Mike Schilt. Like, he knows what he's doing in that role. So he has experience there, and that can help, I think, as well with Craig Stammen, even if he hasn't managed in the big leagues before, Brian Esposito. The guy has managed in the minors before. He's got a lot of experience, former catcher, I believe, a lot of baseball experience in that, and he's been in that dugout, obviously, recently, just this past year. So he can help. Like, he helped Mike Schilt make decisions. Let's not act like this was just Mike Schilt making decisions. Like Ruben Niebla as well helped. So you've got two guys there, if they stay, in Espo and Niebla, that can help Craig Stammen with this transition. They know what spring training's like as a coaching staff. And Craig probably knows a little bit as well because he was there at spring training recently, doing things and helping out. So I'm not super down on this hire. I know social media is going to be doomers about this. And shout out to my uncle. He's already talking about how he thinks the Padres, they're going to be a 500 team, and this isn't the hire the Padres needed at this moment. I'm not going to sit here and, knock it when it's Craig Stammen, because there are some Padres fans that maybe they recently hopped on and they don't really know who Craig Stammen is, but people that have been here know who Craig Stammen is. And I think if you take a measured view of this, like you zoom out a little bit here and just calm down and relax, don't look at his playing career and be like, oh, Craig Stammen, like, wasn't a high leverage reliever for the Padres at the end of his career. But let's remember, I mean, in the wild card series, he was big in 2020 in that wild card series. He started, I believe, game 3 for the Pods in that series because they couldn't go with Chris Paddock. So he did have some success with the Padres. If you're a real one, you will remember I was at this game, a Sunday day game, where he gave up back-to-back-to-back-to-back home runs. Anthony Rendon, Trey Turner, Ryan Zimmerman, I forget who the other one was. But he gave up 4 consecutive home runs, and the Padres lost that game. I remember sitting there, burning my you-know-what off, and that was an ugly scene. But just think about what a story that would be, where you've got a guy that gave up 4 consecutive home runs and wasn't able to be a part of a team that finished the job with the Padres, to then being the World Series manager for the Padres. Like, that would be pretty sick. So who knows what the rest of this coaching staff is going to look like. It seems like a lot of them are going to stay, so that's great. Who's going to be the third base coach? Who's going to be the hitting coach? Are they going to shuffle around any pieces? Is it going to be internal hires that maybe played smaller roles, but now they can come in? Would you put Alan Craig as a hitting coach? Would you elevate some? Like, we'll see. But Craig, with the experience that he has in San Diego, the experience he has at the big league level, he obviously pitched in the minor leagues, had to. He's been around the Padres at spring training. The conversations that we don't know about that he, I no doubt, has had, I think that can help him. And if you have Ruben and you have Brian Esposito there helping him along, then I don't think it's that big of a deal. To be honest, I get tired of people bringing up that, oh, he doesn't have big league managing experience, or these candidates that interviewed with the Padres didn't have big league managing experience. Well, guess what? Every Hall of Fame manager at one point had no big league experience. Like, you have to take that chance on them for them to be successful. And I rather have the Padres take the chance on Craig Stammen, who's been here, than on Albert Pujols, to be honest. And that might be an insane take, but I don't care. That's how I feel.